talk about the lessons we have learned under COVID. And these are personal lessons learned. I've learned some few. Nti mwayingira ekintu ate mwagamba Katonda najja ye yabaleeta. Bisaso ntamu. A channel that talks about education, that talks about skilling, is being self-aware, self-awareness. Make sure you're aware of your strength, of your weaknesses, of your emotions. A warm welcome to our viewers on this YouTube channel, Bisaso account. We thank you so much for tuning in. We like the feedback. Kindly keep the feedback coming. I like those very many comments I get on my Facebook account, on my email account, and those ones who always inbox me. Thank you so much. Kindly keep them coming. We enjoy them. And this is our trade, and you know we always want to improve this trade because we think we are adding value to anybody. We think we add value to people. So kindly keep them coming, and we shall certainly give you feedback as and when we receive them. Thank you so much. So once again, a warm welcome and a round of applause to all of you who are tuning in this channel. Now today, let's talk about the lessons we have learned under COVID. And these are personal lessons learned. I've learned some few lessons under this COVID. Remember, it is now 5 months ever since government told us to start home. Being a teacher, actually being a head teacher, I've spent at home 5 months, and I have learned quite some lessons. Some of them are hard lessons, but I want to thank God that I've learned them because we have actually learned some few lessons. Now, one, it is always dangerous to depend on salary as one source of income. Salary is a problem. Remember, salary is a fixed amount of money you get. Now, regardless of whether there is variation in inflation, there is variation in prices of goods and services, there is variation in cost of living, there is variation in standard of living, the salary has remained the same, and we are suffering. And there's no salary which has ever been enough. Now, the other problem with the salary, now, there's cut. Many companies have cut up to around 60%. You can imagine the fact that it's not enough. That is one. Now, it has also been cut. To make matters worse, many people have been laid off their work. So it's very dangerous to depend on salary, and we have learned a very bitter lesson. We wait for 30 days until you get your money. So it's important. I always tell, now I want to tell young people out there that it's never very bad to depend on salary alone. Think about some other thing. Now that one takes me to a second lesson I've learned. It's always good to have multiple sources of income. And the multiple sources of income, you can always have your salary, but think about a skill or a talent you have and develop it into a skill and finally into a competence, so that you can get another stream of income. And there are very many streams of income that can come your way. It could be about a problem in your community. It could be about your passion. It could be about your talent. It could be about your occupation. Like, for instance, me, I'm a teacher. You can start counseling. You can start coaching. You can there are very many things. If you're a news editor, you can start editing. You can start photographing. There are very many things you can learn. But they should be in your talent, your passion, your occupation, even the job you are doing. Think about it. But it's always important, have multiple sources of income. If salary is not coming, there are very many other things you can always do. But never ever depend on one source of income. It is dangerous and suicidal. Then the other thing I've learned, that is always important to have a family to fall back on. There are very many people who don't have families, but they go so stressed with their families. I know somebody is going to challenge me that even people with families got challenged, but the other people got more challenged. Because at the end of the day, remember they told us never to move. Everybody stayed at home. Now, imagine somebody without a family. Unless for us who had children, who had wives to talk to, or who had husbands, you could always talk to somebody. You could always share ideas. But when you are alone, it's always important, my dear colleagues, friends, and pals, to have a family to lean back on. Because at the end of the day, this is your family. You need it. So it's always important. The lesson I've learned, the 5 months have taught me that it is important always to have a family. Then I have also learned team playing. Especially in running a home, I've learned team playing. You need to have in your home or whatever you're doing, there must be a team. You need to support each other in various aspects, in various chores. You need to support each other. You need to do things as a team in order to succeed and in order to be more progressive. You need to be as a team. Then the other thing I've learned, it is also bad to depend on only your workplace as a social outlet. Because we all stayed at home. Like, for instance, where I work, where I'm a head teacher, there's nobody I am working with who ever visited my home. Now, imagine, supposing I had neglected my neighbors, my people in the community. So it's important never to only depend on your people at your workplace as your social output. You drink with them, you talk with them, you're always moving with them. You need your family, or you need other people, especially in your neighborhood. Treat these ones as your relatives. Relate with them, laugh with them, talk with them. If there is anything to share, share with them, because these are the people whom we shared views, especially in this COVID. Then the other thing I've learned that we need to have, everybody needs to have a practical skill to keep us busy. The practical skill should be around your talent, around your passion. Remember, we said God, all of us have talents God gave us. Now, use your talent, develop it into a skill. I know very many homes started small businesses. This is how actually the Chinese started these cottage industries from home. I know very many people started making sanitizers. There are very many people who started making liquid soap. Others started making books. Others started doing very many things. Others started agriculture. So it is important always to have a practical skill to sell. Otherwise, people were stressed, they were not doing anything, they were sleeping, they were not doing anything. It's very important always to have something to do. Your hands should be busy, your brain should be active thinking, your legs should be busy. And very many people actually started walking. They were walking in groups until the government said no more walking in groups. So we all went back home again. So the practical skill is important, especially to keep your children busy. Let your children learn a skill. Let them learn a practical thing to do, so that even when they go back to school, even when they grow up, they become better because they have a skill to sell. Then one thing I've also learned, and this is bad, that we need to prepare for retirement. Because we are practicing retirement. Because we actually behaved like we are in retirement. So we need to prepare. And how do I prepare? Make sure you have a social scheme you're in. Make sure you have an insurance policy you paid for. Make sure you have money to fall back on in terms of what? Savings. Because people ate the money and they finished the money. They had nothing. So it's always important also to prepare for your retirement. Retirement in terms of education for your children. Retirement in terms of a social scheme to help you. Retirement in terms of medical scheme. Retirement in terms of insurance. This is important because we are actually practicing. In fact, some people were saying, I saw a lot of things on social network. I am in retirement. I'm in retirement. So prepare for retirement in terms of education for your children. In terms of a social scheme. In terms of your savings. In terms of housing. You must have a house. You must have a social scheme. You must have insurance. You must have a medical scheme. Now, we are preparing for retirement. So, I've also learned that it is important for anybody to prepare for retirement in life. Otherwise, the 5 months we have stayed at home, we're actually practicing how we shall be in retirement. Then we should also be independent. And I want to tell people, never ever depend on somebody for survival. Because depending on somebody for survival is a social sin. It is a social sin. It is dangerous. Because at the end of the day, the other person is determining how you are going to live. Nobody is going to make you happy. You should only be the person to make yourself happy. So make sure you don't depend on anybody. You have a head, use it. You have a brain, think. You have hands, use them. You have legs, use them. But don't ever depend on anybody for survival, for education of your children, for insurance, for medical. Depend on yourself, because depending on other people is a social sin. It is actually dangerous, and at the end of the day, you will suffer. You will not enjoy life if you depend on anybody. Then the other thing is that we should also practice self-employment. We should practice self-employment. We should never depend on jobs from government, from civil service. I think the civil service employs about 100,000 people. So think about self-employment, because self-employment is key. And think about your home first. When you're talking about employment, think about your home first. You could start a cottage industry. You could start something from your home. Let it be in agriculture. Let it be in what? But please, self-employment is the key, because people who are self-employed continue working, at least from home. Then also, I've also learned that it is important to spend within our means. We should spend within our means. We should do things as far as our income is concerned. Let's budget according to our means. Let's save. Let's try to do very many things using the money we get. And finally, I also learned giving. There are many people who are suffering in COVID, and we need to give. In very many books I've read, the scriptures say that giving is the only way to ensure that you receive. I've learned to give, and I've learned lessons as far as because if you want to get love, give love. If you want to get money, give money. If you want to give hatred, you will actually also receive hatred. So these are the few lessons I've learned in this COVID, and they have been very good lessons. Some of them have been hard lessons, but I want to thank God that I have lived to learn them, especially as far as getting multiple sources of income is concerned. The fact that salary will never be enough, importance of family, importance of team playing, having a practical skill in preparing for retirement, and so on, like I've admitted them. So colleagues out there, Pauls and friends, please, let's prepare, let's learn these lessons, and let's try to ensure that we understand them, because COVID has been a very good lesson for us. If it was not COVID, very many things would never have come to light. But we thank God that COVID came, and we strongly believe it will go. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel. Kindly keep on tuning to Bisaso channel for more exciting video. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.